A false notion of manliness leads boys astray. True manliness is humane. It says, "We who are strong are to bear the infirmities of the weak." Its work is to protect those who cannot defend themselves. The good knight today is he who provides help for the blind, the deaf and dumb, the insane, who defends animals from being cruelly treated, rescues little children from bad usage, and seeks to give working women their rights. He protects all these sufferers from that false manliness. True manliness is tender and loving. False manliness, cold and hard, cynical and contemptuous. The bravest and most heroic souls are usually the most loving. Bold as lions in the defense of the right, such men in their homes and their private life have a womanly gentleness. False manliness is unfeeling, with no kindly sympathies, rude and rough and overbearing. True manliness is temperate. It is moderate. It exercises self-control. It is capable of self-denial and renunciation. False manliness is self-willed and self-indulgent.
Thank you for tuning in to the Men Don't Cry podcast. If you are affected by any issues we discuss in this episode, please feel free to turn off and tune into the next one. Myself and Charlie aren't trained professionals, so if you are suffering from mental health issues...
Well, hello, and welcome to the Men Don't Cry podcast, episode 2.
Well, hey, episode 2.
We made it.
Finally.
With me, Charlie Towner, and you.
Yeah, I'm Louis again. Same as last week.
Same as last week. Yeah, no
nothing's
guests.
changed.
No one wants to come on this show.
Don't blame him.
So this is our second episode now.
Yeah.
So we were a bit more relaxed in the first one. I feel like we were quite nervous on the first one.
Yeah, we didn't really know what we were doing.
No.
We rambled.
I hope it came across well.
Yeah. Well, who knows? We just put out.
We did just put
as
it
we were
out.
recording. We put out the first episode. So
yeah, literally.
Fingers crossed, people like it.
Yeah.
Might hate it.
I think it's awful. I don't know why people would watch it.
Scrap this now. And that was the Men Don't Cry podcast episode 2. Yeah.
So we was just going to talk about picking up from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I introduced the 5-step challenge.
Yes.
And we've been having a go at it.
We have.
I hope you guys have as well.
Yeah.
You better be. Hopefully you guys have been having a go at it. Also, feel free to send us some messages when the episode goes out and let us know how you're doing with it. We should be releasing some stuff about how we're doing with it as well. How have you found it?
See, I haven't done too well, if in all honesty, Charlie.
Right. Be honest with me.
I am going to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you and the viewers at home. The screen one is so hard for me. And I said this.
It's the hardest one.
I said this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The one I'm going to struggle with the most is going to be the screens, because I'm like working TV and like go to uni and do TV, and I absorb a lot of media.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know, I just go on my phone a lot. If I'm not doing that, I'm watching like Netflix.
But there was days
or
where
listening to music.
where we made an active choice to.
The first week, I'd say we were pretty good. I'd say
Speak for yourself, mate. I've been smashing it.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah, I was pretty good the first week. I got to the first weekend and I was good.
Yeah.
And then the second week, it just went downhill.
Right.
I did the bed every day. The bed's been good.
Yeah.
I've kept up doing that. I've been out. I've not stayed in one day.
You've done 10 minutes outside every day. That's good.
I've been all right with the water.
I've always been pretty good at drinking water.
I'd say about 70% of the 2 weeks I've done the water. That's been fine.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Screens and Wash your face.
and
I wash my face every day.
Yeah.
I've been doing that. It's just the screens, mate. What about you?
Yeah. No, I think I've been doing really well. I think
Yeah.
the bed one for me that is actually the hardest one.
Really?
I can do an hour off screen today. I can do that because I can sit down and waffle with someone for like we do on the show. Like this is an hour off screens, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So that one's is the making bed because I get up out of bed. It takes a lot for me to get up out of bed. I'm just one of them. Like you guys will be able to relate at home. Like sometimes when you get up and you just think, and you sit there and you watch TikToks for like an hour, and then you get up, you go to the shower, and then your day started.
Well, Saturday morning, I think I woke up at 8 and I didn't get out of bed till like 11.
Yeah,
just because
it's really bad, isn't it?
It's just like
it's not healthy.
3 hours I've just done like
Nothing.
fuck all.
Yeah.
Just
and
because.
that's fine. Like it's fine to like have a go on TikTok and like sort of waste a bit of time and like go on the PlayStation stuff, but not when you first wake up. Because like when you first wake up, then first like 3-4 hours are your most productive hours.
Yeah, I also thought today like it was really bad. The first thing I did when I woke up was pick my phone up. And all of a sudden,
I bet most people like that, which is really bad.
But I was like, in the moment, I sort of put it back down and sort of went back to sleep. But in the moment, I was like, my eyes sort of hurt a bit then, because I'm immediately
you're like, straining your eyes
I'm
straight away.
Going from nothing, like darkness, obviously eyes closed, waking up, and the first thing I'm doing is blue light, and that's so bad for you.
It's
like,
really bad. Yeah.
It's so stupid. I don't know why I keep doing it.
Yeah.
But it's just like a habit now. Like they've got me. They've got me sort of exactly when I check my phone.
Yeah.
And all it was a couple of emails.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
not
Nothing
even
exciting.
fucking worth it, mate.
No.
Not worth it.
Yeah, so all the other ones I've been good on. The making the bed one's hard. The drinking water one's hard for me because you guys at home don't know this, but I have a very, very bad sugar addiction.
Yeah.
Really bad. To the point where we worked out how much fizzy drink I intake a week, and we worked it's about 11 litres a week.
Which is actually mental if you think about it.
Yeah. That's the amount of water you should probably be drinking, maybe a bit less. But so I've cut down massively because it was really, really bad for me.
Yeah, you bought those cans and they've lasted you a long time.
Yeah, so at my weekly shop, instead of like buying like shitloads of bottles and loads of litres, I brought 8 cans to last me a week, and they lasted me a week. I did it. I smashed it. So
you're good with screens.
Yeah.
Washing your face.
Yeah, been doing that. Well, none of these spots have gone. And I've been drinking water and washing my face,
mate.
but
it's a process.
It takes a long time, I guess. Yeah. So, but yeah, I've been doing that every single day. I've also bought some tea tree. What?
Tea tree.
What am I saying?
Tea tree.
Tea tree. That's the one. Tea tree wipes.
Yeah.
I've been wiping my face with them. Girlfriend recommended. Shout out.
Well then.
So I've been doing that as well. So I've been trying to take a little bit more care of myself.
Well, this is what it's all about. Even if like you don't. This is sort of very counterintuitive. If you don't necessarily do all these 5 steps.
Yeah.
Just about making your lifestyle a little bit healthier. Like even if you don't
You're not
drink
doing it for
exactly 2
else.
litres of water, but you drink more water.
Well, you're doing it for you, aren't you?
Yeah,
so as long as it's making you feel better,
exactly.
you don't have to do 100% these.
Yeah.
But if one of the steps helps you, then do one. If 2 or 3 help. If you don't see a point in that being off your screen for an hour and it gives you enjoyment, then don't do it. But all of these steps are in place, and the reason I put them in place in this challenge is because I do genuinely 100% believe that if you do every single one, it will improve your life.
Yeah, it's just about trying to get a bit healthier. That's what we were doing in the new year, and sort of trying to improve your life.
That's why we didn't want to set it up as like, right, get a gym membership.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
do all that
there's small things you can do. Well, we are talking about this as the first one's coming out, so we'll probably get some feedback next week.
We should do.
And we'll also just sort of ask our mates how they're finding it and that sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, tell us how you're doing.
Yeah.
Because
let us know. I'm genuinely interested. I want to know like how you guys are doing at home.
Because also, weirdly, like I've struggled with the screens, but I find making my bed really easy.
Yeah.
Whereas you find the opposite, the exact opposite.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, today we might as well introduce the topic.
Let's get on with.
We haven't actually
the bloody
done
topic.
that yet, which is we're really good at this.
Yeah.
So the topic today is the pressures of masculinity. So I think we should start off by talking about why we thought this was an important, because the first episode we did grief, and grief is one of the most important things man or woman will go through in their life. Why are we talking about the pressure of masculinity? Why is that so important? Why do you think it's so important as a topic to talk about?
I think because grief is something, as we discussed, that like everyone will go through, and it's a very sort of primal human thing. Like everyone will feel grief at one point in their life, but this is far more specific. I feel like the pressures of masculinity obviously they impact women and that sort of side of things, but it's very specific to men, and it's something we could definitely dissect, because we're not just going to just give our own opinions or our own sort of experiences, but to dissect it and actually be like, well, what is actually up with all these pressures? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's completely different to grief. Grief is like we're almost talking about a concept, right?
Yeah.
But like pressures and masculinity is a concept, but we're sort of talking what our opinions are on it.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't really have an opinion on grief as such. Do you know what I mean?
We can only tell sort of our experiences. Whereas you say, we can sort of debate topics and that sort of thing. I'm really excited about this episode.
So when we first started pitching this is the one that I really wanted to do. I came to you and I was like, really want to do this one.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be such a good episode.
Yeah.
So let's crack on.
Well, let's crack on. Yeah. So we have a few conversation topics we want to get started on.
Yeah.
The thing I think that comes to my mind when I think about the pressures of masculinity straight away is whatever's closest to home. And so for me, what's closest to home in terms of the pressures of being a man and what it means to be a man is the people that are closest to me. And that would be like my older brother and my dad. But I wanted to really focus on, because I talked a little bit about my dad in the previous episode.
Yeah.
Today I wanted to focus on my older brother. So really with him, he has always been someone I looked up to, and in the absence of having like a role model as a father, sometimes he would be the person I'd look up to and still do now. And there's positives and negatives to that. I think the positives are you've got someone that's setting a good example that you can go to for advice, that's teaching you lessons along the way, that's there to support you emotionally, all these sort of things. That's great. But the negative side to that is sometimes you find yourself being really jealous.
Yeah.
And you're really jealous of the things that you might feel as though they're better looking than you, or they're bigger than you, or they're more clever, or they're more popular, and all these sort of things. Or because you love them so much, it really hurts because you feel as though you'll never get to that level.
Yeah.
And that's something I've experienced, which I will touch on as we're talking. But obviously, I want to ask you about you because you have a really good relationship with your older brother.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So like, as you said, you sort of make them into this idol, and I massively idolize my brother. Like, so for context, he is older than me. He's 5 years older than me. He is like really good at everything. Like, he's really smart, really funny, popular, good looking, really tall, which is like mental.
So he's really annoying.
Yeah, but he's like he was the head of like school captain at school, like the perfect sort of older brother,
The ideal role model.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't ask for much more, and so it's weird because it's like obviously I know him and he has his faults and everyone does, but I've always sort of put him on a pedestal as a younger brother, and a lot of my personality, as like I think we've spoken about this before, like a lot of my personality is based off of him. So I'm a massive Arsenal fan. He was a massive Arsenal fan. I play the bass guitar. He plays the bass guitar. Yeah. He influenced the music I like. My comedy, even like things I find funny, because he'll be like, "Oh, this is a really funny podcast. You should start listening to it." So I start, and I really like it. And like we have a very similar sense of humor. We really get on, and like he's all these things to me. And so I know what you mean when you say, "Oh, that makes it." It's like a double-edged sword. Do you know what I mean? Because like he's so good that sometimes I find myself comparing him to me, and that's something we'll probably come on to, comparing.
Yeah.
But you can't help but want to compare. Like I'm not being when I got head boy of my school, the main driving force was that him and my sister both were head students.
Right.
Not really because I was desperate to be head boy.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to be the one that didn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Charlie, which is his name by the way, which is confusing because you're Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my Charlie, it's just he is so good at everything he does that it's almost like a target for me. So I've always used it as a positive sense.
Yeah. I think comparing is something that I went through a very similar experience in terms of with my brother. Again, he's 2 years older. He was one of the really popular guys in my school. Goes to the gym a lot, so he's really well built. Always been so popular, and then overall a lot smarter than me. Just you could ask him about anything, and he'd have an informed opinion on it straight away. All of them things, and like I've been in experiences before. So I went both my primary school and secondary school. I went with him, and my first ever job, he was working there as well. And it's hard when everyone knows him before I started working there, and then I start working there, I'm now known as his little brother.
So you go to the same secondary school as him?
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So everything I did, not even school, I was in the same sixth form, and then the same job. Everything we did, he either like got me in or like I was under his shoulder, and I liked that at first. When I was about 10 or 11, just before I went to secondary school, I'd go into his room and we'd sit there for hours, and I'd ask him all this advice about secondary school. What do I do if some kid like embarrasses me on the first day? Like, how do I navigate these situations? How do I talk to girls? Like, all these sort of things I would go and talk to him about and ask him about first. And so at first it was really great for me to have like a role model. But then I started finding myself getting frustrated, not at him, but at that situation, especially when I started working with him, because I was known as his younger brother. And it was an ongoing joke of like, how can you two be related? And I went, why? And they went, well, look how good looking he is. But it was banter.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate banter, and that's part of being a bloke, isn't it? Like, you've got to be able to take banter. But we can all be honest and say that, like, there's that little bit of banter that sometimes slips through.
Yeah, it's like it's not really the first thing. It's not the first thing because you've already got your defences for your main insecurities.
Yeah,
but it's like the third or the fourth one that you don't really realise is there.
The deep lying insecurities that you don't tell people.
Yeah,
and without realising that they're doing it, it hit me quite deep. And that's when I started to feel that this sort of idolisation of my brother is good in ways, but it has its negatives. And when I start comparing myself to him, that's when I start to feel really insecure about myself.
And it's tough, right? Because you're so similar, and we're both coming from the same place here. Like, we're both the younger brother, and everyone says, "Oh my God, you're so like your brother," or like. But sometimes in your case, people banter you. But I can, from my personal experience, you are a lot like your brother. I can see it. So like, you have a weird sort of place where you're so like them, but you're like just not them, that you're trying to constantly get to be them.
Yeah.
And so, but you have to remember that you are your own person and you have your own qualities. And I was talking to my brother over Christmas, and I sort of went, "Do you ever like sort of talk about me? Because I bring you up all the time." And I was like, "I don't reckon." It was sort of half jokingly, but I was like, "I don't reckon you lot sort of big me up to people, because I constantly praise my brother to other people." And he's like, "No, I do." I was like, and that for me was quite strange, because I was like, "But why would you tell people about me? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just your little brother, whereas you're my big brother. You're like everything to me." And I think that happens a lot in sort of brother relationships, that the younger one just constantly is looking up and chasing the bigger one. But you also have an experience of being a big brother.
I do, yeah. So
I don't.
Yeah, so I am a big brother. I have a little brother who has just turned 10.
And do you feel the same responsibility? Because you know how you sort of say how your big brother is, like, he's the man in the house and he's, he's very responsible. Do you feel like you do the same for?
Mine and my little brother's relationship is very different to my older brother and my younger brother's relationship, because my older brother is more of a father figure to my younger brother. Because he doesn't have one, and he's still a kid, he fills that father role. Whether or not that's a good thing or not is another discussion for another day. But my relationship with my younger brother, it's hard to summarise. Sometimes I feel that protective nature and the sort of pressure to be a good role model for him. I do feel that. But because I don't see him a lot, and because I don't live at home anymore, we don't have a really close relationship. So I haven't felt them pressures of being an older brother. And it's probably for him, he doesn't really feel like he's got an older brother, because he's just got two adults.
Yeah.
Whereas me and my older brother, we were 2 years apart. You and your older brother, you're 5 years apart. So there's that little space you're sort of the same age. So things carry over and you can ask for advice, and they've only just gone through those experiences. Whereas with my younger brother, he's still a little kid, really. So he's seeing us as two adults. We're not of the same. There's a 10-year age gap between me and my younger brother, and 12 between my older brother and my younger brother. So I haven't really ever felt that of being a big older brother. I did when he was a baby. That was really exciting. But as time's gone on and things that have happened, obviously, in my family, it's hard to have that close relationship and be that older brother that I want to be.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it will come in time. And when he gets a little bit older,
Yeah,
it
I
becomes
guess
a bit
as he
easier.
opens up and has his own experiences, because at the moment he's what, 9, 10? 10. He's just turned 10.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So I guess as he hits sort of teens, which is where you really grow up,
Yeah.
he can have experiences, and
Definitely, yeah.
you won't be that disconnected from having them.
Like, right, he's just got a phone.
Yeah.
So right now,
So that's like the
I can
first
start
step.
talking to him a little bit more, but
Yeah.
beforehand, like there was
You text him on like your mum's phone or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it's important to sort of not try and disconnect yourself, because it's like you are 10 years apart, and you're not saying you would, but you two are going to be like 2 years is massive for you with your older brother. 5 years is pretty big for me, but 10 years you're going to be like these two sort of
when
massive,
he finishes secondary
massive
school,
people in his
we
life.
might even have kids.
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the big gap. One thing I was going to talk about with brothers is that we actually had a conversation a few months ago. I'm trying to make you remember, and we was talking about the pressure to be like our older brothers and like how we idolise them and all this sort of stuff. And I said to you that I had a conversation with my older brother. It was a really important conversation for me to have, and I hadn't had it my whole life. And I sort of admitted to him how much I idolised him and how much he is a role model for me and how cool I think he is and all this sort of stuff. And he turned around and said something quite surprising. He turned around to me and said, well, I'm very jealous of you. Like, you're jealous of me, I'm very jealous of you. I'm jealous of the fact that you're in a creative industry doing something that you want to do. I'm jealous that you're comfortable enough and confident enough around people to like just be yourself. I've always talked to him about like I don't feel peer pressure. I've never felt peer pressure to do anything. Like if I don't want to drink, I won't drink. I've never done drugs in my life. I was my own person in secondary school. I sort of tried to be a big sort of popular lad and a bit of a bully and stuff, but especially in the past like 6-7 years, I've never really felt that. And he said, I'm jealous of that. I'm jealous of this and that. And he talked me through a few things that he's jealous of. And what you realise is that not just with older brothers, but with anyone, there's people out there that you're going to be really jealous of and that you're going to think, oh, I wish I was like them. But deep down, there'll be something that they want of you.
Yeah.
Because the grass, the saying is true, the grass is always greener on the other side.
There's always something whatever you don't have, you want.
And I think it's going to be the same if you have, or if you ever talk to your brother about that.
Yeah,
you'll find things.
I don't think me and him have ever spoken about that, but I sort of brought it up over Christmas, like I said. But I can't really comprehend that there would be anything that he'd want from me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I understand that there probably is a couple of things where
it'll surprise you.
Yeah, but I've just never had that conversation with him. Maybe I will one day.
Maybe you will.
Sometimes it's our relationships with our brothers, even though they sound very similar, are quite different.
Yeah. I think I'm probably too open with my brother.
Yeah.
He knows everything about me,
Yeah.
every single experience I've ever had, embarrassing or whatever.
Whereas we don't really talk. I know, we know a couple of things, but
But my family's very open because we have to be to
Yeah.
survive. You
Yeah.
can't keep secrets in my family. It's a very small family,
Yeah.
whereas your family's bigger.
Yeah.
So it's easier to be a little bit more conservative. Whereas with mine, if you're not open, you'll get found out eventually.
Yeah.
It's better to just be open than to lie about things or be not lie, but be secretive about certain things.
Not say anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And I also think I have a sister, and this is sort of a bit off topic, but I will sort of tell her that the embarrassing sort of stuff or like advice with girls or that sort of thing, I'll go to my sister or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I do sometimes with my brother, but not as much. So yeah, it's different.
Yeah, definitely.
But one thing I want to talk about with brothers is I sort of get this when I'm with him. Well, when I'm not with him, I'm my own person. I'm very independent, very stable, and I just sort of have my mates and I do what I want. I don't really rely on many other people. But when I'm with him, I become the little brother again. I don't know if you experience this. So when I'm on my own with you guys, I'm a 20-year-old man. Like I'm just sort of living in uni, everything normal. But when I go to see him, or we'll go to like a football game together, he'll take me out. He'll buy me a drink. He'll buy me something, and it's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
But we'll get to I'll be on the way to the pub, and I'm travelling from where I live in London on my own But as soon as I get there, he'll be like, "Oh, what pint do you want?" I'm like, "Oh, can I have a
Yeah.
Carlsberg,
Yeah.
Charlie?"
Oh, I love you.
Yeah. And I become the little brother again.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about like that sort of side of masculinity,
Yeah.
because I definitely drop my I lower my masculinity, I guess, with him, because he's the older brother. He is the he's the alpha, I guess. And I sort of submit to sort of being the younger brother in that sense. I don't know if you do the same, but I definitely sort of take on a younger role whenever I'm with my brother. I don't know if you do that.
Well, do you think there's anything wrong with that?
No, I think I like it. Like, I play into it.
Yeah.
Like, I let him buy me a pint, or like take me out and treat me, or like, because he's older than me and he's got more disposable income, or like he's my big brother, so he sort of feels like he can treat me. And if I had a little brother, I'd do exactly the same thing. I know, like, you sort of said that really lovely story about your brother giving you money all the time.
Yeah, well, I spoke to my brother about this just to fact check this.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much what I said. So my dad, when me and my brother were younger, my dad would give my brother a little bit of money, and then when we would go out to, let's say, the beach, my brother would get me something. And there was quite a few times where I thought, where's he getting this money? Like, why is he buying me things? But it was always something that I really appreciated. I was like, oh, my brother sort of getting me something.
Yeah.
And then when we got a bit older and I started going down the pub and that sort of thing, my brother would be like, oh, do you want a pint? Like, I'll get you your first pint. I used to think, oh, that's like really generous. Like, and that was something I definitely looked up to him with. And then after my dad died, I sort of spoke to my brother about it. And it turns out that my dad was giving my brother double the money.
Yeah.
And then saying, don't tell your brother that's come from me. Go and get him a pint, or go and get, and just don't, like, it's your money, like, sort of thing. And I found that really interesting, how, because he's the older brother, the sort of that masculine role of being a provider was being passed down from my dad to my older brother, because he's the firstborn. He's the one that has to be the masculine one, the provider, or that pressure. Yeah. And he passed that down to him. I just thought that was
I think it is,
really good story, because it shows, doesn't it, like, without there being an acknowledgement, it's like, right, that what this thing is I'm giving you extra money. Yeah. But you have to use that to be a provider. Yeah. You can either you can choose to keep that money for yourself, or you can go and be the provider. And it's like a lesson. Yeah. It's a really good lesson as well.
Yeah, I think it's something that I definitely teach my kids.
Yeah, definitely.
I desperately want to have 2 boys if I have kids, because I have loved having an older brother. Yeah. I couldn't be a bigger advocate or a bigger sort of, I couldn't be more appreciative of having a bigger brother, because it's been so valuable to me. Yeah. And we have such a good relationship, and that is down to my parents as well. But I think it's so important.
Do you think because you said earlier, like, it sort of shaped the person you are?
Massively.
And in a positive
genuinely,
way as well.
All of my interests up until the age of about 16 were my brother.
But there's nothing wrong with that, because I don't want people to get the idea that that's wrong in a way, because between the ages of about 16 and 21, I don't know if it's the same for women, but certainly as blokes, you're trying to figure out who you are. What are you interested in?
You have your base layer, right? So when you get to 16, you have like, oh, well, sort of what you like, and what things that you're into, and all that sort of side. And you might know what A levels you want to do and all that sort of shit. But like, then you get to grow into the man that you're going to become. Yeah. And that's where he's sort of taken his foot off the gas and gone, you go do that for yourself. But I've given you all the sort of things that I like. Yeah. And he's not forced me to do anything. Like, I know my dad would be like, oh, I really want you to be a Leeds fan. But my big brother was an Arsenal fan. So, of course, like, I just followed him. I did everything he did. And I just... Yeah. But, like, he asked for me. Like, he asked my parents. So, he's the oldest and my sister's in between and I'm the youngest. But, so he had a younger sister and he was over the moon. But then he found out, my mum and dad told him they were pregnant again. And he was like, right, he literally said, it's better be a little brother. Because I want someone to go and play in the garden with. Yeah. And then we did for the next, 20 years of my life. Like, even when I go home, we'll still go play cricket in the garden. Yeah. Or like have a kick about. Yeah, that's the moral of the story. Yeah. I love cricket. Yeah. But yeah, so I think they're so important.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think within masculine structures, the older brother is massive.
Yeah.
So I think it's if you don't have an older brother, you find older brother figures.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be biological.
No.
You will find it, I think, naturally. Like, you will find people who represent an older male figure that isn't your father.
Or like, if you don't, like, if it's not an older brother, it might be your dad. If it's not your dad, it might be your granddad. If it's not that, it might be a friend's dad.
Yeah.
You know, you see relationships
Or
all
just
the
a
time.
mate who's a couple years older than you.
Yeah, someone, just a bit of a mentor figure.
Yeah.
But everyone needs that.
I think it's so
you
important.
need a mentor figure, and you need a male mentor figure if you are a guy, because
correct.
you just need that. Someone that understands the pressures of being a bloke, which obviously we'll go on to talk about, but there's so many, and not necessarily put on us by women, but also put
mainly by other blokes.
Yeah, other blokes putting on pressure for you to be a man and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's so important to have a mentor that is a guy that understands them pressures and that can say to you, mate, don't worry about it.
And also someone who's made those mistakes and can go, let's steer you on the right path, because I've
carry on making them mistakes and learn from them. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I think that's sort of covered the brother.
Well, I really wanted to talk about masculinity in relationships.
Yeah.
Because you asked me a few questions the other day, and I think you were surprised at my answers, especially. Well, you asked me about paying for meals and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So do you want to maybe say like what the conversation was?
Yeah. So we were talking the other day about paying for a date. Mm-hmm. So I have always been of the opinion that I will pay for the first date. Just I've always have done. Mm-hmm. And then like if they really want to pay for the next one, then they can. Or like if say we're going to the cinema, like we'll get food, she can pay for food, I'll pay for the ticket. So do you know what I mean? Like splitting it somehow, or like, you know, not it only being me. But when I said that to you, you were very different to me. So why don't you go? Well, so what? How would you do it?
Well, me and my girlfriend have been together for 5 years. So we met when we were 14 in school, and we're still going out to this day. And about 2 years ago, when I had a job at a company that makes chicken, peri-peri chicken, I used to get my paycheck every week. And I get it on a Friday morning. And then on that Friday, I'd take my girlfriend out for a meal. And it was never anything expensive, like a Weatherspoons. Or I was only getting paid like £90 a week. So like Weatherspoons or a Nando's or a Pizza Express or whatever. I didn't mean Nando's. But you, like go and take her out and just like 10, 20 quid on a meal. And that gave me a lot of joy, and it made me feel more of a man, and it made me feel like a really provider and that sort of thing. And so now, even though I don't have any money, I don't think I'd ever be really comfortable with her paying for the whole meal. I think it's happened like once or twice. Other times we'll go 50-50. I'm kind of comfortable with that, but I get a lot more enjoyment out of buying her a meal.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean, because when I like that, my opinion now has grown over a certain number of years. Like one relationship I was in, I genuinely paid for every single date.
Yeah,
we were only dated for like 2.5 months.
She got her money's worth though.
I probably spent about 200 quid.
Such a bad investment.
I know.
The worst investment.
And I was 16. It was
Yeah.
all the money I had.
Yeah.
But it was just did it because like, because exactly the same. You want to treat them. You don't want to feel like they have to pay for anything, and it makes you more of a man.
But why were you doing it?
Because I cared about her, and like I wanted to treat her.
But were you doing it to impress her, or were you doing it
no,
because you genuinely...
No, I wasn't impressing her, buying her
a McDonald's.
Yeah, like chips from Weatherspoons, or like, I don't think she's blown away.
Can I just say, obviously my opinion on it is possibly a controversial opinion, maybe yours is as well. But I'm not saying that I pay for things to impress my girl. We've been going out for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like obviously I impress her in some ways, but I have no that sounds wrong, doesn't it? Anyway, no, I'm not doing it to try and impress her or to try and be like, look how much money I've got. Yeah. She knows I'm skint. There's no illusion going on there. Do you know what I mean? I ain't got any money. I'm not doing it to try and impress her. Yeah. But what I'm doing it is for her, because I like treating her, and I feel like the support she gives me, I feel like maybe paying that back a little bit and being like, I appreciate you, and this is what I'm doing to appreciate you.
No, I do. You
have to do it for the right reasons if you are going to be of that mindset.
Yeah, and you can't sort of pay as like a transaction for something else.
Yeah. So we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah. So like there's a lot of problem with, and a lot of men have a problem with like, oh, if I pay for this date, I expect sex or I expect something back in return for this. And I think that sort of mindset is something that as a society we are going to have to sort of get past and sort of eradicate, because
there'll be people listening to this probably with that mindset.
Yeah, and it's just ridiculous. Like, if I'm completely honest, like that's such like a ridiculous way to think, because why would you? It's like almost like saying, well, I'll just give you 50 quid rather than I'll take you out.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't expect it. Like, and I know that I've had mates who have had experiences where they've paid for the date, they paid for the meal, and then gone, do you want to be exclusive? Or do you want to be like, do you want to go out? And they go, no, I don't like you like that. But they've let them pay for the entire date. And that's not right.
No.
But then you can't pay
expect
to expect it.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was paying to go, well, if I pay here, she'll let me go out with her.
You never know.
But no, yeah. But I think he was saying, well, I really care about her and I want to make sure that she likes me.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just pay for this. She can pay for the next date. But then she was like, I don't want another date. And then they had to get dropped home by their mum.
Ooh.
And they both sat next to each other in the back seat going, oh, you've just rejected me.
Yeah.
I'd have walked home.
Yeah.
It's only 20 minutes.
I'd have walked home as well.
Yeah.
No, I 100%. I think, look, I'm not being funny, boys, but or blokes, whatever. There's a million different better ways to impress your date.
Yeah.
Pull a chair out for her, make her feel appreciated.
Be funny.
Talk about her. Don't just sit there talking about yourself the whole time. Like, do the things that you would like to be done to you. Listen. Yeah, actually listen to what she's talking about. All these sort of things, they're going to be much more appreciated, and show how like good of a guy you are than being like, right, well, I'll just pay for the meal because I'm rich. Because especially at our age, like, girls don't really care how much money you've got. It's not a you're not getting married.
At 20,
you know what I mean?
like, how can they expect you to have
there's not many
crazy
people out
money
there that are rich and that can take
and if
you
that's
out.
what they want, then they're kings. They're not the one.
They're not.
They are not the one.
They're
if
not,
all they want is for you to be
queen.
rich,
Yeah.
it's not worth
you
it.
deserve better.
It should be
But like, is there anything else maybe we could talk about in relationships? Like, you've had relationships before. Like, have you ever felt a pressure in them to be a man?
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially both my relationships were before I was 18. And at that age, it's really hard to be masculine, especially when you look at how I was looking. I was a late bloomer, by the way.
Very, very late.
Late bloomer.
Very late bloomer.
So, like, I sort of started to grow up when I was about 16, 17.
Yeah.
And so when I was in these relationships, like, I wasn't mentally ready. And to be a man at that age, when you're really feeling like a boy, is hard.
Yeah.
And to put on that front, and everyone does it. We've both went to sort of boys' schools where you see a 14-year-old bloke called John who thinks he's got a deep voice and like is massive, but really he's a scared little like boy inside, like everyone else.
Everyone's the same.
But everyone's putting on that front, and you do it in relationships.
Yeah.
You act as if you're, Billy Big Bollocks, like, or like you're not bothered about something, or you're not sensitive because you're trying to be a bit, but you're young and you don't know what's going on. You don't know the world. And all you know is sixth form, and it's very scary. And you don't realise it till you're past it. But you look back, and I look back on my relationships, and I go, I had no clue, firstly, what I wanted, secondly, what I was doing, and thirdly, how to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think you're quite a rare case where you've been with someone since you were 14, and you've grown up together, and you've made it work. And I feel like, I was going to ask, have you had to change your views on masculinity or the way you are 100%, with women?
Because I always talk about this, like, this time before I met Lara, and it was only like a 2-year period between the ages of like 12 and 14. That was my experience of being like a single young teenager, and my whole life revolved around being popular and being popular with girls. But that's what I thought, like, this is the time to do that. And so this is brilliant. It's so really embarrassing. So you guys better appreciate the fact that I'm opening up right now and saying this is really embarrassing. But when I was about 13,
I know what's coming.
Do you know what's coming?
Yeah.
I would literally pretend to be different people. based on what I thought the girl would like. How that is
That
shocking.
is so sociopathic.
It is.
Oh my God.
So like, if there was a girl and I felt like she was a bit mysterious, I'd sort of do that as well. So I'd be
Give her
like,
a little pout.
so I'd be like, that's
Hey, girl.
horrific. That's horrific. So I'd be like, I'm going out, and they'd be like, where? And I'd be like, I can't talk about it. Like, I'm not allowed to talk about it. It's a secret. And they'd be like, oh, that's mysterious. And I'd be like,
I can't
bang.
tell you.
that I bang, have that.
Oh, you're part of the Illuminati or something.
yeah,
in
like I'm a
Snodland.
spy or something. Like, what am I doing? And then, like, if a girl I know that her ex-boyfriend was like a footballer,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I'm off to rugby training. Like, I was part of a rugby team, but I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm off to rugby training tonight. Like, and I come back all sweaty and send myself with that mud on the face. All that sort of stuff.
Can't really do that when you're cricket and you're in all white.
No,
Just
not really.
just go,
It's not the
"Fuck
same
off."
thing.
Yeah.
But no, so I used to do them things and pretend to almost just be different types of masculinity. You know what I mean?
Did you ever do the arty kid?
I
Or like
don't
the jazz
think I
kid?
could pull it off, to be honest with you, mate. Musical theatre kid. Hey, like
Hi.
I can't. I don't think I could pull that off.
You come in like a little cat.
A little.
You put your MJ costume back on.
Yeah, I don't. No, so I used to like do that,
Yeah.
and that's like, I guess that can lead us into like the media's depiction of men.
Yeah.
Because I think I was doing that because I would watch, say for example, like, I don't know, 13 Reasons Why, and you have like the jocks in it, and like they're cool, and you're like, oh cool, I'll like try and be like them, or like trying to think of a different example, like Glee or something, like where you go, oh well, I could be like him, I could be that stereotype, and then you sort of choose what channel you want to be in. So as you say, like you could be like the musical theatre kid, or you could be the kid that's really good at sports, or the kid that's like really mysterious and he's sort of like a bit of emo and
Just toe tapping in the corner.
yeah, exactly, yeah, just like with a little journal. But like, you have these different depictions of men,
Yeah.
and it's hard to know what sort of stream you want to go
If you
into.
don't fit into them because you don't know yourself
That'd be
yet.
funny, but in real life, it's not as simple
No.
as I'm good at sports, so I'm a jock.
Yeah.
I'm like this popular guy that's a bully and a homophobe and gets all
Yeah.
the girls, and I'm a bad guy, like all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
They don't, them sort of people don't exist. I don't know what they're like over in America, but over here they don't exist.
No.
People like that don't exist. So,
Because I think we insult each other so much that no one can just be, oh, I'm the jock, because they're
Yeah.
like, fuck off, you're
yeah,
shit.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Come
It
on,
doesn't
mate.
work over here.
Get a grip of yourself.
That's what I mean. Like, being a man and what kind of man you are
Yeah.
is not down to your hobbies or your interests or anything like that. It's down to the person you are,
And usually
you can't fake that.
No, and usually, like, sort of coming back to relationships, which we were talking about, when you break through that barrier of, oh, I'm the sporty one, or oh, I'm the popular guy, and you might break through that in a relationship, then you sort of get to your actual person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you sometimes you need someone else to go, like, through that and work you out.
Yeah.
Because you haven't worked yourself out yet.
Exactly,
So you're clinging to whatever you could. So I clung to like rugby and cricket, and then when I started to realise I like drama, I went and hang out with like the drama lot, or like, I had different groups. I didn't really fit into one. I'm really different. I didn't really fit into like one group. I had like the little ones I floated around in.
I was a bit like that.
But even like people who like play games like PS4. I'd have the ones who one night I'd be sitting on PS4, next night I'd be going to like do the lighting for a show. Do you know what I mean? And they were completely different people who wouldn't talk to each other at school, but I was in between them.
Yeah.
And so it became a bit different. But like, I think since like when I went to sixth form, I went to an all-girls sixth form, and so they worked me out. Like I came in and I was
You
just
ain't going to
this
survive, mate.
No, I was this personality, and I came from the maths school, it's quite a ruthless school, but I thought I could hack it. I went to a girls' school. Mate, they rip you to shreds, and they know exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Somehow women have got this psychic power to just know
See through
people.
bullshit as well.
And it's like, am I that obvious? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Because I'm 16 and I'm not that good at hiding
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I actually like painting my nails and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. And it was when I went there that I was either going to do politics, because I love politics, or TV, and like creative stuff. And it was those people that told me to follow that side. And that is actually me. I love creative stuff. I want to be a cameraman. So politics was just the easy option. I liked it, but TV was the risk. And like, that's what they made me do.
Yeah.
So that's sort of like, I think masculinity can sort of sometimes get in the way, because I was like, well, I want a stable job and I want a 9 to 5 and I want to be able to provide for my family. And I was saying this to these people, like my friends from school, and they were going, yeah, that's great, but you love TV and you're passionate and you're creative. And like, I listened to them, and so I applied for this uni. But it took a bit of that. It took a bit of me taking my sort of masculine stereotypes and going, shelve that for a second. This is what I really want to do. And if it doesn't work, then we'll go from there. But yeah. I don't know if you've experienced that. Like, obviously you say you're from a place where going to uni is a rarity. And like being creative faced you with some things that most people wouldn't really want to experience.
I think so. I think especially in my secondary school, my 3 courses that I did in sixth form were IT, media and film. Yeah. And so people come up to me and go, why are you doing like the easy, you're just doing easy subjects.
I did film, drama and politics.
Yeah, exactly. So like you're just doing the easy subjects, or why are you just dossing about? And there is that bit of a stigma that goes around in it. And I, like, not my school, but my hometown, you wouldn't get many creative people from there. Most people are tradesmen, or they work in like the paper mill, or you know, they work down the shop, like that sort of thing. So to go to uni in London and go and do film is like, why are you doing that? Sort of a waste of time.
But did you think, did that have an impact on your, I know you said you didn't really respond to peer pressure, but did that have an impact on your masculinity? Did you ever question it and go, why am I doing that? That's not very typically masculine to go and do.
I think the projects I've done so far, I think I've told you about this, I've always found it hard to get actors. So I'm always in the stuff that I make. Which I don't want it to be like a Ricky Gervais thing, like where I just star in everything I make. It's just because of I can get actors. So I've always played parts in my films. The first film I ever made, I played a abused gay person. Yeah. And in it, I had to cuddle and hold hands with another guy from my school who is also a bit of a geezer sort of thing. Yeah. And we found that very hard, or I found it very hard, certainly showing people that film. Yeah. But I was surprised with the reaction. I was surprised that people weren't taking the mick out of it. Because I think if I was to do that when I was about 13, 14, 15, if there's any of you out there listening that are 13, 14, 15, I think that's the time where your masculinity is most, you feel the pressures of masculinity the most.
Massively.
Because you do get picked on if you're not the most masculine guy, and you do look weak, or you seem weak to them bullies.
Or massively prepubescent.
Or that, just like you. But when I started 16, 17 and I show that film, I just got great feedback. Yeah. And people were like, well, that's really good that you've gone and done that and made yourself vulnerable.
And this comes on to a really nice point. This brilliant segue, you didn't even realise it. Confidence in your sexuality and yourself and your just who you are has its own place in masculinity. Yeah. To be masculine doesn't necessarily just mean you're the big bloke who's like, you know, built and goes to the gym. Like Harry Styles, for instance, is like an icon in sort of, you know, current social climate. Like he is adored by millions of like young girls, like, you know, like in their late teens and that sort of thing, who idolize him. And he's not the, you know, the big lad. He's not like,
he's very feminine, isn't
exactly. He paints his nails. He wears like androgynous clothing. He's, you know, very free and gender fluid in the way he acts and expresses himself. And
David Bowie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you see it with people like David Bowie, Lou Reed, all that sort of thing. Like that in itself, that level of confidence is so admirable that you can sort of have that, like masculinity almost takes a second role, and people can go, oh, that's really attractive that you're that confident in yourself. And so for you to make a film where you had to hold hands or like cuddle up with like another guy, that in itself got respect because you were comfortable with it and you went, I don't care what you're going to call me.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter to me. I know what I am. I know what how I want to represent myself. And if I want to express myself in this way, I will. And it's sort of when I'll probably come on to like painting my nails.
We might as well talk about it now.
Yeah, exactly. So only in the last year, really, have I sort of discovered that I quite like it. And it was weird. So we did it. We had a fancy dress costume party in first year in like February.
Yeah, I just came back. Yeah.
And I decided I was going to go as an e-boy, right? I couldn't think of a costume, and
What's
I
an
thought,
e-boy again?
right.
Sorry,
So
I'm
basically,
not down with the kids.
yeah,
unfortunately.
there are these people on the internet. I think means like internet, like, like email.
Yeah,
I think it's like and it's someone who like predominantly exists on the internet who's like quite like emo-y,
yeah.
and maybe that's it. Maybe it's emo boy. Maybe.
Is it like a little subculture sort of thing?
Yeah, it's
like,
mainly on like social media, like TikToks, and they're quite like they wear like a lot of black, and like they're quite like gothy, but like they're quite emotional.
like gender fluid.
But yeah, it's like a type of like some people find like girls find it attractive. Like I don't know, like the bad boy sort of thing. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I don't really get it.
Yeah.
Right. But I knew what it looked like.
Right.
So what I did is I like sprayed my hair black, and like put it in curtains,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and like had black nail varnish on and a
Yeah.
chain, and like I wore a jumper underneath my top,
Yeah.
really edgy.
Yeah.
And I went as this character, right? But then I painted my nails, and I was like, I actually really like this. And something in me just clicked, and I was like, I think this looks really cool. And I kept looking. I didn't take it off immediately. I didn't have any like remover. And every night after the party, I sort of taking all the other sort of crap off. And I was just looking at my nails, and I was like, I actually feel confident wearing these. I feel like a level of confidence going out, and it was almost like I want you to say something, because it's like I don't care, and it was a bit of a sort of not rebellious.
Well, a little bit of a fuck you.
Yeah, I guess so, because it's like I don't think the way I dress normally wouldn't like. I just think I dress like an average 20-year-old person. I don't think I'm very expressive with how I wear what clothes I wear. So like it was just a little bit of like expression about me that I could do and I could control, and it didn't really mean much. But I've found now that I really like it.
Yeah.
But I've definitely faced adversity. But like, you know what I mean? Like people have said stuff to me, especially when we play sports. So like we play in a Sunday league team, and I played one game when I had nail varnish on, and you get a couple comments, but you just shrug it off because it doesn't like I know in myself that I'm just wearing it because I like it, and it doesn't mean anything. And if it did mean anything, what does that matter? Do you know what I mean?
People will attack. The main thing people use to bully or attack people is what makes you different to the stereotypical man.
Yeah.
So if you're a little bit bigger,
Fragile masculinity in themselves is
Yeah.
what it's reflecting.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
exactly. But it's like anything that makes you slightly different. So you take like stereotypical straight white bloke who's probably a little bit ripped and quite good looking, and then anything that makes you different. So I've got my ears pierced. So there's one thing, a bit bigger than most people, like a bit tubbier. So there's another thing. You paint your nails. There's one thing to take the piss out of, and all it is them going, well, I want you to be like all the other normal people.
Yeah, and they sort of might be jealous of your confidence.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you have to have confidence.
They probably want to walk around in like, I don't know, like open toe sandals or something, but they can't because it's not cool.
But like, I think when you get to a certain level of you don't really care what other people think. That's so valuable, in my opinion, for masculinity. Because I don't think I'm any less masculine for wearing nail varnish in myself. If anything, I felt like my masculinity. I sort of puffed my chest out a little bit more and I'm a bit more like shoulders out, but. People, even like my family, have made comments. Yeah, and like, I've come home from uni. Typical lad, he goes to uni, all normal. Yeah, and he goes to take an arts degree, and he comes back with painted nails. Yeah. No, but like I started wearing rings when I went to uni, and like I started painting my nails, and I wore like a necklace, and like, I came back for Christmas, and like, some of the comments my family made were like, "What are you doing? Yeah, why are you wearing that?"
But I think that's like. Other people may look at you as less masculine. Yeah. Other people may think you're less of a man, but that it doesn't really matter because if you feel like more of a man, that's reflective, and that's reflected on the way you are and the way you carry yourself.
And I also think like I'm not necessarily doing it to become more of a man.
No. You're doing it because
just I'm just doing it for confidence, and if that makes me feel, if that impacts my masculinity, then so be it. Do you know what I mean? I know some people value their masculinity as like the be all and end all. Yeah. Like they have to be the most masculine in the room. They have to be the one that's like, oh, I'm the toughest. I can lift the most. But like, I couldn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would rather be confident.
Way to look at it,
though. I'd rather be confident in myself, and not be as masculine. Because I value self-worth over masculinity every day. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think, unfortunately, I think some people don't.
No. Yeah. Exactly.
But I think that's, you know, that will come with time. Like
Yeah.
with icons such as Harry Styles and, like, you know, people who are willing to break those barriers in the public eye, they're the people that are going to strive to change.
Yeah.
Because me wearing nail varnish is not going to do anything. But someone like him, like Rex Orange County, even he's not anywhere near as big as Harry Styles, but in his latest album cover, he's wearing like Dalmatian nail varnish. And even something like that, it's just another figure for people to go, it's not even boys as well, it's girls as well, for people to go, oh, I can find a man attractive whilst he's wearing things that typically aren't masculine.
Yeah.
And to change that view. And that's why I think Harry Styles is doing such a good job, because he's going, you still all love me and you find me very attractive.
Yeah.
I'm not looking like the average bloke. So stop making those lads want to look like the average bloke. Because I think it's important to say, like, masculinity isn't just one-sided. Enforced masculinity is probably the bigger problem, but there are things within women who they strive to. I think part of it's primal. They strive to see like masculine tendencies within men, and that's more attractive naturally. But those sort of things with barriers to change with people like Harry Styles and Rex Orange County and all that sort of thing, I think are really valuable. To talk about, because blokes come in all shapes and sizes, and nail varnish colours. Yeah. So
we're all very, very different.
Yeah.
One thing I want to talk about just before we take maybe a little short break.
Mm-hmm.
As a teenager, I always had, and it is definitely a lot of other lads around me felt it. They felt the same way. There's this weird depiction of men in media, and you'll see it in a lot of TV shows. The bad boy.
Yeah.
Right. The dickhead, the one that's rude to girls, the one that's hard to get. It's a bit of a bully, big guy, you know, all this sort of stuff, right? You see it in shows like Euphoria, where you've got like a 25-year-old Jacob Elordi, whatever his name is, playing a 17-year-old, and 17-year-olds looking at that and thinking, "Oh my god, I meant to look like that."
Or the bloke from Riverdale who's like he's literally 30,
yeah,
playing
exactly,
a 17-year-old.
and that puts the pressure on. But I remember having many conversations with different girls saying, "Why do girls find that attractive?" Because it's not only in films and TV shows. You see it with like the most attractive girl in your year or in your school. She ends up going out with some like the local drug dealer.
Yeah.
Who doesn't put any effort into his appearance. Like he walks around in a tracksuit. You know, he's got all the money, but he's horrible to her and he treats her like rubbish. And I always was really confused about it until I spoke to a few girls about it. And I realised that it's something really important for you guys to understand. And I'm not talking for all women here. I'm just talking for the women that I've spoke to about it. It's almost a little bit of a fantasy. The idea that they find someone attractive because they're a little bit mysterious and they're dark on the outside, but maybe on the inside they've got a bit of a soft soul and that sort of thing. They can be changed and that sort of thing. And it is depicted in media. And whatever's depicted in media in Hollywood is how people think. So if a bad boy is
it's a dramatized version.
Yeah,
right?
but if
there's no smoke without fire.
If there's bad boys in these like massive Hollywood productions and they're very attractive, then people in real life are going to find them very attractive.
Yeah.
But it is a fantasy, it's an illusion.
Yeah.
And them sort of people don't really exist in real life.
No.
And so like my girlfriend, I've spoken to her about it. Fantasies are so much different from the real life. As blokes, we might have fantasies, maybe even sexual fantasies, that in our heads, that sounds so amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I want to have a threesome. Like, I want to do this, I want to do that. You know, all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I've got to be careful because my family will listen.
Yeah.
But like, let's say I had that. I really want to have a threesome. When it comes down to it, when it actually comes down to it, do you actually want to? Do you actually want to like see your girlfriend in that position? Like, probably not. And that's the difference between having a fantasy and then, you know, having real life.
Yeah.
And in real life, either girls might like a bad boy and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Once they go out with one, and once they grow up a little bit and realise that it's not worth the drama, or they're because some girls, especially when they're teenagers, kind of like the drama of going out with a bad boy. And so once they grow up a little bit, you keep being yourself.
Yeah.
You keep being yourself, Kings. You keep being yourself. Keep being polite. Keep being a gentleman. Keep treating women with respect, and ultimately it will pay off.
Yeah.
Because you've got to just keep being yourself. Keep being yourself. Don't try and be this bad boy to try and get girls, because it's not going to pay off in the long term.
No, ultimately, like, they always say like nice guys finish last, but like I feel like eventually they'll be in the best positions to like.
They'll be content with their lives.
Yeah,
and
they'll be the happier, healthier people.
Of course, yeah. So I just wanted to put that out there because it was something that I've had experiences with before, talking to blokes about that, and I really wanted to put that out there and just tell people, look, don't worry about it, don't stress about it. If you're like in secondary school or even in university, like that will come and go.
Yeah.
And if you keep being yourself, you'll find the right girl.
If she wants that, she's not the one.
Exactly. If she wants a bad boy and you're not a bad boy, don't try and change yourself to be one.
Plenty more fish.
Exactly. Well, can we say plenty more fish? Is that derogatory?
Why? Am I suggesting women are fish?
Yeah. Right, cut that one.
Yeah. Well, if you want us to be bad boys, yeah, you are fish.
Yeah. Definitely. But we're going to take a short break to recollect ourselves, and we'll be back with some Q&A questions from you guys. So we'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you in a bit. We have had our lovely few-minute break.
Little wee break.
Yeah, and we are ready to do some questions.
Yeah.
Right.
So we put out a Google form. So because last week we asked for some questions, but people sent it through their Instagrams. We wanted it to be anonymous, so please check our Instagrams.
Yeah.
Because this obviously, this is going out after the first episode now. So please check our Instagram. It'll be up for 24 hours. It's an anonymous Google form, so we can't see who's put stuff up. So. We'll say the topic of the episode and just respond with maybe a little story or a little bit of advice you want or a question or anything.
And also, just whilst we're on it, massive thank you for the Instagram.
Oh, brilliant.
Like the support we've received already is crazy.
Yeah.
Little shout out to Creative Capital. We'll put them in the show notes. Couldn't be done without them.
Yeah, our producers are fantastic. So.
And yeah, just massive thank you for all the support because it's blown us away.
Yeah,
we've hit like our goals and more.
And the episode the first episode's just come out.
Yeah, we set out with 100 views on YouTube, and we just checked in the break, and it's on 200, 100 nearly. Yeah,
nearly.
It's crazy.
So.
It's so yeah, just a massive thank you.
Yeah,
but let's get into questions.
Everyone. Okay, so I'll start with the. Question, our first question that we got. So the question is, how do I stop being jealous of guys that are more ripped than me or more popular than me or more clever than me? So it's a hard one because it's probably the most universally relatable question because we've all felt it.
Yeah.
You could be the most ripped guy or the most clever guy, the most popular guy in the world, but you're still going to want to be that bit more, or there's someone else that you're jealous of. So what's your experiences been of that?
So, as we sort of mentioned, I was a very late bloomer. So, all throughout secondary school, I looked at other people and thought, oh my God, like I'm 5 foot sort of something, like tiny, squeaky voice, baby-faced, shit hair.
Doesn't change.
Like spotty, like just didn't rate myself, had no self-confidence. And I looked at some of the lads around me who were massive and had facial hair and a deep voice and looked like a man. And I always used to think like, that's never going to happen to me.
Yeah.
I remember watching this like weird person in America, this weird like interview person who was interviewing some guy who was like 23 and still hadn't hit puberty. And he was this anomaly. And I remember watching it and being like, is that what I'm going to be? Like, I'm 15 here. When am I going to hit puberty? When am I going to like things were happening, but like not at the rate they should be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I was really nervous about it. And so I completely understand like that question or like that sort of thing, because you do look at others and you have to just say like, I'm in my own trajectory. And this is something I learned afterwards. I'm on my own path and their lives aren't the same as my life, and I can't compare myself because it's impossible. They've had different experiences. I've got values that they want. They've got values that I want, and that's okay. Because if everyone was the same, life would be fucking boring, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's nice to be a bit fitter and a bit healthier, or you want to be a bit taller, or have bigger shoulders, or there are countless things that you can want in life.
Yeah.
But ultimately, really, you can get a few of them, but there are some things you just have to put up with.
Yeah.
And the quicker you accept yourself and begin to like actually like the person you are, the easier you'll find it.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to look at other people and go, I'm really happy for you. You stop being jealous of them. I'm happy that you're sort of, you're tall, or I'm happy that you are good looking. And I have my own values, and that's okay. And stop beating yourself up, because I know we all do it. Like, Jesus, we're harsh on ourselves all the time. But it's so easier to give that advice than to take it. But yeah, that's what I'd say, because you probably are good looking in your own manner, and just leave yourself alone for a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's okay.
Just chill out.
People have things you don't have, and you have things they don't have, and that's
exactly
okay.
Exactly that. And I would say as well to this person, like, what are you doing it for? Like, why are you jealous of them? Like, and let's say, like, you're trying to be more ripped, you're trying to be more popular, you're trying to be more clever. Are you doing that because you want to be like them, or are you doing that because in yourself you want to be them things? Because there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a little bit more muscly. There's nothing wrong with trying to improve your intelligence. There's nothing wrong with trying to have more friends.
But can I also say, popularity after school literally doesn't.
Nothing.
It means fuck all.
It means nothing.
No one cares. When you get to uni, no one cares how popular you are. If anything, the people who try to be popular are the people that no one like.
Yeah.
So
everyone's grown up a little bit. Yeah, no, it's definitely important to remember. But just like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. If I could like speak to this person, I'd ask them why. And if they're doing it because they want to be like other people, then stop. Yeah. Only do them things if you want to do that because you want to improve yourself, because you don't like yourself. Yeah. Because, like, most people that go to the gym do it not because they want to look like other people, they want to be ripped, they want to try and get a girl, like all this sort of stuff. They do it because they are not happy with themselves and they want to change. So there's nothing wrong with looking at other people and going, oh, I wish I was a little bit bigger, I wish I was, but don't compare yourself to other people, compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about how you feel.
Try and be better than you were the day before.
Exactly. Only compare yourself to yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, because there is no benefits out of being jealous of something. Because let's say...
You're just tormenting yourself.
Yeah, and let's say I go to the gym and I see someone that...
You guys are just so great, honestly.
We are live.
You're on a break.
No. We finished early.
I'm not in sound then. I'm not.
No worries.
That's fine.
All right. Cheers, Sherry. Definitely keep that in.
Has he had us muted though? Oh, okay, we're not muted.
Okay,
so we'll just
fine.
carry on. Are our levels okay, Andre? Okay, sweet, mate.
Fine. Okay.
Right.
I know. Right,
I was like,
I
is he on the
remember
phone?
I remember where I was.
Ba-da-da-da.
Right. Okay, before I forget.
Yeah.
So I go to the gym, right? Let's say I go to the gym and I see someone that's more ripped than me.
Yeah.
He's muscly, he's got barely any fat on him.
Mm-hmm.
So I work super hard to get to his level.
Yeah.
I'm at his level. I'm bigger than him. I'm better than him. And then I see another guy walking past that's even more ripped than that. There is an endless supply of people to be jealous about and to want to be like.
Yeah.
So as long as you're happy in yourself or you're improving your own self-worth, that's the most important thing, not trying to be like anyone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I think that's covered it.
Yeah. So the next two are more sort of like maybe asking for advice. So I'll say this one. So the thing just says being lonely and on your own when all your close friends around you have partners. So I think what this person is saying is that he hasn't got a partner, but everyone around him does. And how does that feel? I think you're probably the best person to ask about
it's
this.
Mr. Lonely.
Mr. Lonely over there, because I have a girlfriend, and our two... I'm not trying to make you feel bad. No, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. Sorry, I sound like such a dick now. But like our housemates have girlfriends, and the people around us are starting to get into relationships, and you don't. So how do you find that personally?
Oh, it's torment, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah, don't be
like,
honest.
I'm not going to be like, oh, it's fine if you don't... Like, I really would want to get into a relationship, I reckon, but I just not found anyone that I've gone like, I really want to invest in you.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've met some lovely people, but never been someone when I've gone like, oh my God, I'm blown away. Like I just
Yeah.
I want to be around you. So I think even though I just said like, oh yeah, I'd love to get in, I'm not going to rush it, because like if I said yes to the first sort of thing that came my way, first sort of chance to get in a relationship, and I took it and ended up hurting that person because it wasn't right for me or it wasn't right for them, that just sets me back, not only like in getting another girlfriend, but like mentally.
Yeah.
Like I'm someone that has like an outer shell that is quite sort of I'm cool, I'm calm with everything, like I'm not upset, but then within me I think about, I overthink, and you've seen me do this, like stress and panic about things that realistically aren't worth worrying about. So I think if I had like a girlfriend and it wasn't right, and it was like I felt bad about hurting them or they hurt me, like it just wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to, it needs to be the right person.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to the age where like I don't really want to have a 2-month relationship and go on to another one. I want to have like a sustained, healthy relationship that can go into my 20s. So to this person, just my advice was to be like, yeah, it sucks. Like it does suck if you don't have a girlfriend. Like people around me, you've got a girlfriend. Both our flatmates have girlfriends. Like everyone around is getting sort of, you know, coupling up. But to me, I'd much rather wait for the right person than be like, oh, well, everyone else has got one, so I need to get a girlfriend, because I don't want to seem as if I can't get a girlfriend. Because to me, I don't care if people think, oh, Louis can't get a girlfriend. Like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'd rather meet someone who I actually really like.
And you know, earlier we was talking about how the grass is always green on the other side.
Yeah.
Surely there's things that are great about being
Yeah,
single
of course.
that-
Like you guys might have like times where you're stressed out because of a relationship, or like, you know, you've got into an argument, or I don't have to spend.
You have responsibilities.
Yeah,
as
I don't have to spend money on a girlfriend or have any responsibilities or look
time
after
as well.
anyone else.
Time.
Yeah, or like have to, if they're really, I don't have to rely on anyone else's emotions. It's all my own.
Yeah.
So that's nice, I guess.
And in a way, maybe this person needs to, you know, if you are, if it's upsetting you and it's really getting you down, focus on the now. So right now, you don't have a partner, you don't have a girlfriend. Okay, that is the situation, and that's not going to change. And if you try and change that suddenly, you're going to fuck it up, because you're going to get into a very quick relationship. So right now, focus on the things that you have that people in relationships don't have. So you've got time to focus on yourself, to work on yourself. You don't have to, as you say, you don't have to rely on anyone for help, and you don't have anyone relying on you for help and emotional support and all them sort of things. And you've got time to get to know yourself and to find out what kind of person you are and build that up. Because when you're in a relationship, that gets halved. You have to work on yourself, and then you have to work on that person, and then you also have to work on your relationship.
And keeping it together,
It's a big responsibility. So at the moment, you don't have responsibilities.
Yeah.
So try and enjoy that. If the right person comes along, they'll come along, but don't rush it. Just enjoy being single. I know I'm coming from someone who's in a relationship, so it might be hard to hear, but honestly, there is things to enjoy and to, you know, take comfort in.
And being single doesn't mean going out every weekend and like trying to get with like anyone you can. Being single to me is more about like you said, like working on yourself. Yeah. And having that time to be with you. Yeah. Because you have to enjoy your own company. That's so important.
Yeah, it's massive.
And it's like, it's really hard to do. It's not an easy thing. And I'm quite lucky that I don't mind being by myself. Yeah.
But being single doesn't necessarily mean being lonely.
Exactly.
Because you've got so many. Yeah. You've probably got more mates now and more people around you now than you ever have done. Probably when you were in a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
So being single doesn't necessarily mean
and more valuable
lonely.
as well. Like I might have had like mates who I didn't care about, but now I've got a really lovely group of mates.
And you can spend more time on working on friendships as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I've had friends who have like been on every dating website, and then the moment they delete it, they find the one for them. Yeah. And so you think like
life works in mysterious
chase
ways
it.
like that.
I'm not gonna be desperately going on dates and trying to go and meet people, because ultimately it will happen. Yeah. If it's not meant to happen, I'll be living with you.
That's fine. That's fine. Me and my girlfriend always said it's absolutely fine. Come live with us, mate.
Yeah, I do feel like your kid. Like you'll be in the room, you'll be like having a conversation. Oh, how was your day? Yeah, I had work. How's your day? And I'm just sat there eating like pasta. Like, I'm all right as well.
Good. Yeah. Sort of watched a couple of episodes of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of tossing about.
But no, I think that's sort of the advice I can give. Like it does suck, but make sure you're okay with yourself.
Yeah.
And work on making sure you find the right one for you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. The last one. So this is again, someone's commented at uni. Not really into any of the girls I meet, but end up sleeping with some every now and again after nights out, just so my mates think that I get action. Feel like there's pressure as a man that if you're not getting with anyone for a long time, that makes you less masculine, but meaningless sex gets boring and kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
So I found this really interesting. I personally haven't been in this sort of situation, but I can certainly see where he's coming from. I think I've been in situations before where, guys will go on and brag about, I had sex the other night, or I've shagged 2 girls in the past month, and all this sort of stuff. And you're in them sort of situations, and I wouldn't necessarily say every situation I've been in, everyone goes, "Oh, that's great, mate. Yeah, you're such a lad. You're such a man."
Usually, it's the complete opposite.
But I think that's possibly something to do with our circle. We're very lucky with our circle of friends that they're not lads. Whereas, obviously, this guy's probably in a bit of a lad group. He's at uni. So there probably is a little bit of a pressure to do that.
I think you got to have your fun whilst you're at uni and you're young and
there's nothing wrong with
it's not, you shouldn't be
having one night stands.
Yeah, you shouldn't be feel bad for that.
No.
But if you don't want to do it, that's key.
Yeah.
Like if you're with these girls and you're going, I really am not actually feeling this and I don't really want to do it, but I'm doing it because of outside pressures, because you want to upkeep a masculine sort of outlook, then why are you doing it? Because ultimately, like we said earlier, the confidence to go, I don't need to justify my sex life to you is probably better.
It's way more impressive. It takes a lot more work. Right, well, that's the end of our questions.
I think that wraps it up for today.
Really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We had a good time.
Oh, I've loved it.
Yeah,
I think we've lived up to the podcast we wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. And so keep listening, keep watching.
Please keep listening.
Keep supporting, keep following, and most importantly, keep sharing this about.
Yeah.
We want as many people to watch this and listen to this as well.
Because we might have just said something that someone's gone, I was really worrying about that.
Even just one person.
Yeah.
Even if what we said has just resonated with one person, it's so worth us putting the effort into doing it.
Yeah.
So that's all we want. We want to just make sure that we're reaching as many people as possible, not for our own self-gain, but just for the fact that we want someone to be able to relate and maybe comfort someone as well.
Yeah.
So thank you guys very much for listening.
Cheers for joining us.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.